Our fire table.
Happy New Year.
It is a new year. It's a
It
new
is.
year.
2025.
It's an exciting year.
Yep. Curious to see what's going to happen this year.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Stacey decided to sit down with me. I was talking her through a lot of things. I don't even know where to start. This is my notes, and they're 1 and 2 words. Because I figure if we can't make a video out of what we said through one word, then we don't really need to do it. There's a whole lot on here and a whole lot of thoughts. We talked about it last night and today and said we got to make a video about these things. So thank you for being here. Hang tight. I'm not sure it's going to be all in order, okay? But it started off as a little bit of New Year's resolution type stuff and how Satan lies to people and some of the things we can take away from everything that's going on in what we talked about.
Well, and sometimes you fail, and so you think that, okay, I just give it up. And we were having this conversation about New Year's resolutions. Everybody makes them. And then you had the statement that you said that you, and I'm going to give you credit for this. You said, come as you are. And then you said, try to be a little less dumber every day.
The lesser idiot video. I actually had that wrote on my anvil and soapstone.
And I laughed so hard. He said, be a little less dumb every day. And I was like, oh my goodness. Yeah.
Well, I was watching Fox News, or just kind of in passing. We weren't just sitting down watching it. It was just on. And the resolutions were like 40 or 44% of people that did resolutions wanted to be healthier. They wanted to make better health decisions, stuff like that. And it went down the list like 4 or 5, and I don't remember them. They're pretty normal stuff. I didn't see anywhere on there where I wanted to seek God more, or a commitment to read my Bible every day, or something like that. Or any, they're pretty just normie stuff. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you're trying to do. You're going to fail. Probably the first day. I know I do, and I know how to get past it. I know that nothing works if you say, well, I failed, that's it. I'm done, I tried, I'll do again, I'll try again next year. If you have that attitude, you'll never do anything. Failure's part of it.
You said a quote one time, and I don't know if it was you saying it or you were quoting someone else. But you said that if you make a resolution and you wake up the next day, say for example you have a diet resolution, they said by 9 or 10 o'clock, you've probably already messed that resolution up.
Or maybe you make it a whole day.
And that really resonated with me, because at that I was like, you're right. And then you say, okay, well fine, I just completely screwed up. Just forget it. I'll start again next Monday.
And it's not diet. That's not just the only thing. It's anything.
Anything.
I'm not going to curse
the way you
today.
live. Yeah.
If you get up and say I'm not going to curse today, it's going to happen. If you've been in construction your whole life like me, and you're by yourself, and it's different when kids are around, and you can, but it's for some reason it's so easy to do that. And then when you do whatever it is you're not wanting to do, Satan tells you better just quit that, because you can't do it anyway. You can't do this. You couldn't last 30 minutes. And that's the lie. That is the father of all lies telling you that lie, and that's it. I'm going to go to church. I'm going to go to church this Sunday, whatever. Something happens. Inevitably something happens, or whatever it is. And maybe it's something that you couldn't avoid. Well, I didn't go last week, and I'm not going to go this week. And that's, you just kind of, it fizzles out. But if you really mean it, go ahead and accept that you're going to mess up. You know, we're going to mess up. Everybody did. Everybody.
No, it does.
Everybody does. They mess up.
Well, you set a resolution, and I think some people set their expectations too high. They say all of a sudden they're just going to flip a switch, and they're just going to start working out, start reading their Bible, start eating healthy. They're going to do this, they're going to do this, they're going to do this. And
All in one day.
And it doesn't work that way.
I told you this story before, right before we started the video. I know a fella, or I knew a man. When I was growing up, he had a horrible drinking problem. And he was a good guy. I really do. If you hear that crackling, that's the oil drip running out of oil.
Rocket stove.
He was a good person. He went to the church that I went to, and he would show up, and man, his eyes would be red, and I could just tell by looking that, you know, he was doing his best. Nobody knows the relationship you have, the relationship you have with your wife, God, your sisters,
your family, friends.
Nobody knows anything about it. Only you and God do. And when other people see that, they think, well, you know, he's just a drunk, or they're just a no good person because they can't get along with their family, or whatever it might be. So you kind of have to detach yourself and think, hey, David in the Bible did some pretty horrible stuff.
He was a man after God's own heart.
Isn't that crazy? That gives me more hope than anything I could imagine.
Look at Solomon. He was one of the wisest men. However,
he was the wisest man. Yeah.
And he, like, what all the stuff did he do? I mean,
Moses,
the
meekest
man
on the planet.
Yet he did stuff.
Nobody's immune from it.
Yeah. So
You're
Chris and I were talking,
going to not screw up again.
And I said you can go from one end of the spectrum to the other. So you can be a judgmental person, but then you also can be, what did you say? You could be going to
the hooker house and doing cocaine all night long, or you can be the judgmental Pharisee.
Yeah.
I had somebody tell me a while back, and I was really trying to do my best, and you know, maybe it wasn't good enough in their eyes. And he told a friend of his that told me, Satan's not going to let that dude go, not with that YouTube channel. And it's like, this guy doesn't even know me. But you want to nobody can tear a Christian down like another Christian.
Yes.
And I forgave him. I forgave him of that.
Was it crazy? Go ahead, sorry.
That's the thing. There's a consequence for that. People that are holier than thou and they've got it all together, God's got a record of their Google searches too. All right?
That's a good point.
I'm just saying. All you can do is look out for yourself. And I want to encourage everybody. That's what the video is about. When you mess up, get up.
Get back up.
The next day is over.
Yep.
Is new, and what happened the day before is over. And you just do again what you're supposed to do. And if you do one step better than you did the day before, then you did good. That's a plus.
Scripture says God's mercies are new every day. That's my little plaque above my desk.
Right.
And so just get back up. And I think a lot of people fail after New Year's because you put all this expectations on yourself and you expect all this stuff and you start out, and then it's about this time, we're about mid-January, and everybody starts fumbling, failing, not figuring out what to do. They say, oh, I missed this, so just forget it. They just kind of throw the towel in. And don't. Whatever it is that you have in your life. And the funny thing is, I'm going to tell a personal story. Do you mind?
Go ahead.
I mean, this is kind of private. But Chris and I, we're a pretty strong couple. And Satan sometimes will come after us. And ironically, it's usually on Sunday morning.
100%.
And it's usually because he does not want us to get up and go to church.
It's like that with everything I've ever tried to do.
So, but we don't stop. We still keep going. There's days we failed, and there's days we've not showed up, but we still keep going. And I think that's the message. Just don't stop. Just keep putting one foot in front of the other.
You don't have what it takes. You don't know how to do
Yep.
it. How are you going to build something the first time you try?
True.
I mean, you don't know, you don't even know how to measure your food. You don't know what and I'm talking about health all of a sudden.
That's
you don't
true, though.
know
You've
how to
been through that.
measure
Yep.
what your body needs. You got to figure out how many calories you actually need to even lose weight.
Yep.
If you go berserk in one direction and go from eating 4,000 calories a day to 2,000, your body adapts and you lose weight for 2 or 3 weeks and then it just stalls out.
But you lose muscle too, and you
lose the weight you lose is muscle.
Yep.
Your body stalls out. So this idiot's not going to feed us what we used to get. So shed the muscle and reduce the metabolism, and let's and you'll stall. And then where do you go? You're going to eat 1,800? You're going to eat 1,500 calories? No, it's a gradual thing. Cut your calories by 200 calories. That's it. But you don't know that if you don't measure. And you don't know that in the beginning until you try 100
or
times.
you learn and you educate yourself. That's another thing.
That's the thing. You fail, and then you got to learn how
Yep.
you failed and what makes it better.
Yep.
What can I do to try to get in front of this thing? Whatever it is. If you're smoking cigarettes or drinking a 12-pack a day, and I never did finish that story about
Oh,
the guy.
sorry.
Remind me to do that. 'cause
No,
it's
finish
important.
it now.
The fellow that was an alcoholic. When I was just a little kid, I could see him. He's coming to church, and I remember it well. And you could see his eyes were red. And I knew if I'd have been just a little bit older, I would have been drinking beer with him, but I wasn't old enough. And he was, way older than me. And he decided to quit. And he quit cold turkey drinking, and it killed him dead. From what I understand, and what my good friends that are very smart individuals, they're intelligent, and they don't just say things out of the blue. The doctor said he'd been drinking for so long, his body couldn't take not having it. And somehow or another it killed him. And I can't help but believe that's true. Maybe that's a good thing to learn from. Maybe you should, whatever your conviction is, do it while you're trying to get better. Drink beer and smoke cigarettes while you're working out. While you're reading the Bible. If you feel convicted about it, and God has a way of getting that out. He has a way of showing you and not condemning you like man will do. Men will always fail you 100% of the time. I have been failed by friends. And the only one you can depend on is God, and He's the only one that can get done what needs to be done in your life. And if you don't believe that, try to do it yourself. It's impossible.
Yep, it is.
The only time I've
Absolutely.
ever been able to do anything, I was seeking. That's all you have to do is seek. That's it. Sometimes I think that He leaves me. And I was telling somebody the other day, it was the Shield and Prepper a long time ago.
You were telling me last night.
And I said, man, I felt like I was right there, like close as I've ever been to God. And then all of a sudden, He just went off. But in reality, I went off. He's still there. He's still doing the same thing. And busyness and sin and all this other stuff kind of creeps back in, and it creates, you get really close, and then those things kind of pull back. And it's just pick up your cross daily type thing. And like I said, this is supposed to be encouraging because we're all going to fail.
Well, I
more
think
than we'd like to.
you made a comment the other day about when we went to church. You said, we're just congregating with sinners. I was like, what? When you said that? And then I stepped back and I was like, you're right. We're just all congregating with sinners, and we're all trying to be a better person than what we are when we walked in that door. And that made sense to me. I never really thought of it that way.
Well, you're trying to learn, you know.
You know, but
And what if you go to church and you don't get anything from it? You've heard that?
so we had a conversation about that last night too. Chris and I had a really interesting conversation. I wish we'd actually had the video going. Because I was like, so when you go to church, should you feel something every time you go? And Chris says no. And I say yes. I'm like, why would I not go then? So I think, you need to at least get something. And Chris says no. There's some times that you may go and not feel a single thing. I don't know. But we had a discussion about that also. But I think it all came back to the New Year's resolutions of where do you start and why do you fail? And
Well, wait a minute. Let's go back.
Okay.
So you go to church and you don't get anything from it. It's a waste of your time. Why did I even go? Well,
I've had that feeling before.
who's in the church? People. What do people do? They let you down. People sin. You don't think preachers have a hard time? Satan is on them like white on rice. He is riding them down every day. Let's just say your preacher got snot slinging drunk the day before the service. Think he's going to be on the game? I'm just saying. I'm not saying he did. I'm not saying it ever happens. Is he perfect? No.
Well,
we all know that.
He might have been into porn the night before, though. And I've actually known preachers that were sleeping with other women.
The piano player.
And then got up and preached the next day.
That seems to get a lot of them.
Every person has their issues. That's what it comes down to.
And then when it comes out, they're supposed to be a Christian. They are supposed to be Mr. Perfect. And nobody's that way, no matter how bad they want to tell you that. Now, when you do read stories about Moses and how he was the meekest man on the planet and he served God, God was very pleased with him and actually gave some people leprosy that were beating him up.
His sister.
Yeah, Aaron and
Miriam.
You learn about that and you see their failures. That's what the Bible stories are about. Hey, David was a man after God's own heart. He failed constantly. And you just get back up. Let's just not say you're trying to get close to God. Let's say you're just trying to lose 5 pounds or 10 pounds. It's the smallest things can be related to the biggest things. If you want to really see a problem, make the problem much bigger. It helps me kind of see, okay, well, that's the way to go. And make the problem bigger.
So I know a single mom right now. She's an amazing woman, taking care of 4 kids. And the stuff that she goes through, I can't even fathom. And every day she gets up, and I asked her the other day, I said, how do you do it? And she said, every day I just get up and I put one foot in front of the other. And so there's some days, she said, that are bad days. Some days are good days. And I think that's the key, is just never stopping, never just saying that, because when the new year hits, we all get these resolutions. What's your resolution? What's your resolution? But at the end of the day, it's getting up every day and taking that one step forward. And I love I think I will put that on my wall. Be a little less dumb every day.
We all do dumb things.
I like that.
And I was telling Stacey last night, earlier, you take it down to like toddler level, sticking your finger in a light socket. What adult would do that? Hopefully nobody. Well, what adult would consume too much of one thing, or whatever it is? Maybe it's alcohol, maybe it's sugar, maybe it's nicotine or caffeine, whatever it may be. Maybe you struggle with judging people. I know a lot of people struggle with that. They might not know it, but maybe the pillhead down the road that's eating Oxycontins and passed out on fentanyl, maybe he's getting it from a drug dealer. Maybe you're getting it from your doctor, and it's okay because it's from your doctor.
Yeah, true.
We're all sinners. Nobody's better than anybody. You're going to fail. But there's hope.
Yes.
With God, that's the only way it works. For me, it's the only way it works. With God, He'll give you the tools you need somehow. He'll give you the tools you need, and I don't know how. I sure don't know how. I don't know how He's going to fix me. I really don't. But you just show up.
I think the
Show
first
up.
thing
Come
is
as you are. That's the main thing.
come as you are and acknowledge. Acknowledge, I think, admit to yourself, okay, this is where I am.
That's where it starts.
And then you move forward from there. And every day you make a little step. Every day you make a little step.
Yeah, and
So
a lot of times you don't fall off the wagon. It runs over you and drags you behind it for a long time. Like you're just like, I'm just going to quit because, you know, I used to do that and I'm not doing it. That.
it'll drag you down.
That's the bad man. That is the person telling you, don't even pray. Don't even pray. He's not hearing you anyway. That's a lie from the father of all lies. That's when you should. And I'm speaking to myself too. I'm not just preaching at you. I'm talking. I talk to people like I talk to myself, and sometimes it gets me in trouble because I talk to myself pretty harsh.
He does.
And it's encouraging, I hope. I hope all that's encouraging. Sounds like I'm being really serious and down, but it's very encouraging to me to know we have
hope.
hundreds of chances, and tomorrow's a new day. Screw up today, tomorrow's a new day.
Yep.
Try to make a plan, and if you can't stick to it or you didn't, it's okay. Tomorrow's another day. You don't give up. That's the main thing. Giving up is just that's the bad man. He's telling you to do that. He's telling you not to do all the things you want to do in your life, and it'll hold you back.
Well, before we go, check out my Charlie Brown Christmas tree if you can see it on the side of the TV.
What's the shop tree?
It's my shop tree. I call it my Charlie Brown Christmas tree, and the dogs were so good. They did not tear off the ornaments. I was so proud of them. But I'm really excited for 2025, and it was an amazing conversation we've had between yesterday and today, and that's kind of how this video
What's
came
amazing
about.
stuff we've learned.
We have.
We've
In
learned
2024,
lately.
we've
From
learned
being
a
around
lot.
godly people, you know.
We have. But we learned a
Made
lot
some-
in 2024.
Learned a lot. I really
We did.
The
Yeah.
main thing, the main takeaway, is how people let you down and really manipulate you and kind of leave you hanging, and that's hard. It's really hard when you had a lot of respect for whoever that person was, and you really thought they were that solid person you hoped they were, and they weren't, and then it's just a letdown. But that's part of it. They're human. Forgive them and move on. You just forgive them and love them. We need to talk about that before we go, because let's say there's somebody young that's not living the way, you know what's going to happen. You know, okay, if you do that, this is going to happen
because we've lived
because
it.
we've lived through it. And you can't tell them that for some
Nope.
reason. You can try, but it's like God's got to tell them.
Well, you can't. I think if you judge them, it pushes them further away, and you can't be there for them. I lived through it. That's what happened to me. Instead of just loving me, I was young and you do stupid stuff, and instead of just loving me, matter of fact is when I was 20, I was told I was going to be a prostitute and a tramp, and still instead of loving me, because I was going out to a bar. Oh my goodness, I was going to a bar, but instead of loving me, then that's what I was told. And so it pushed me further away. And that's what Chris and I, we were talking yesterday and today. We're like, instead of judging someone, let's love them and be there for them.
That's all you can do.
And I think that's the difference.
That's all you can do.
And that was, so 2024 was a takeaway from that. And also there's hope. And there's good people, and and you just learn lessons.
There's people.
There's people, but
there's just bad people, too.
Everyone's a sinner, and everyone has mistakes, and everyone has something in their life. And so mine might be this, and yours might be this. So it's not for me to say what's going on in your life, because I got my own issues going on in my life. And that was the big, I think, discussion we had last night of what you got to realize. Am I wrong?
No, and when you realize that, it's like, wow.
Everyone has something.
It's a load off. It's like,
Yeah.
wow, everybody's got something. That guy's, maybe he's doing his best and he's fighting with it, or maybe he won't never come back from it. That's not for us.
Right.
We just have to love that person. That's what we're commanded to do.
Yeah.
And that's the only way you ever reach through. I have a good friend of mine, Really, really good friend. I've known him since 9/11. It's my first day meeting him. And he was there. He reached out to me when I didn't call him back.
Yes, he did.
He reached out
Good
to
man.
me. And I don't know what I was into or what I was doing. I was, running all over the place. We're doing shutdowns, and there's no telling. But he never quit reaching out. My grandfather, he always loved us. He loves all of his grandkids. Some of them are downright losers. He loves them. That's the.
And your dad and your mom loved you.
Oh, for sure. My mother and father. I have had a wonderful upbringing that I wish everybody could have. And, coming from that and seeing lately the amount of people that haven't had that is like, we've got to figure out how to love people that's really hard to. It's really hard to love some people. You have to. And it starts with forgiveness and understanding they're human and they might not have had the chances you've had, and start there and stay there and go from there.
I agree.
Guys, thank you for hanging out with us on our fireside chat. I'm going to upload these videos. They're not scripted. They're not edited. It's just us.
Yep.
And
I think it's going to be a good year.
oh yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Yep.
It's going to be a great year.
Yep.
I wish you guys an awesome new year. If you fell off the wagon, I hope you jump back on in the morning. And I also hope you have an awesome, awesome day. We'll see you in the next one. Later.